Picture this. You're a rat in a laboratory. There's a lever in front of you. Every time you press it, you get a hit of cocaine. At first, you press it occasionally. But as time goes on, you press it more and more. Eventually, you're pressing it so compulsively that you forget to eat, you forget to sleep, you press it until you literally die from exhaustion. Now replace that lever with your smartphone and replace the cocaine with notifications, likes, and endless scrolling. Welcome to the human condition in 2025. I'm about to tell you something that will blow your mind, and I'll get to this later. But there's a specific neurological reason why putting your phone in a drawer at night can trigger your body to release stress hormones. It's not just psychological, it's happening at a chemical level in your brain. Today we're going to explore how a device that was supposed to connect us has broken something fundamental about how we exist as human beings. And by the end, you'll understand what we can actually do about it. Let me take you back to January 2007. Steve Jobs walks onto a stage and says, "Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything." He wasn't kidding. In just 18 years, smartphones achieved something no other technology in human history has managed. Running water took decades to become widespread. Electricity took decades. But smartphones? They reached near universal adoption faster than almost any technology we've ever seen. 91% of US adults now own a smartphone. Globally, 4.3 billion people carry these devices. But here's the scary part. The moment smartphones became ubiquitous, the smartest engineers of our generation moved to Silicon Valley with one mission: get you to look at your phone as much as humanly possible. And they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. If you've watched The Social Dilemma, you've heard former tech executives confess to this exact manipulation. These aren't conspiracy theories, they're admissions from the people who built these systems. They designed your phone to be irresistible, and then they got scared of what they created. Let me tell you about dopamine. You've heard it called the feel-good chemical, but it's your brain's motivation system. Scientists created mice that couldn't produce dopamine. These mice would literally starve to death with food inches away because they had no motivation to reach for it. Your smartphone hijacks this exact system. Every notification, every like, every TikTok video triggers dopamine release in 3 specific brain pathways. And every time this happens, these pathways get stronger. A piece of chocolate increases dopamine by 55%. Sex increases it by 100%. Your smartphone is giving you unlimited dopamine hits all day long. You can get hundreds in just minutes of scrolling. But here's the terrifying part. When you're constantly flooded with dopamine from your phone, normal life experiences lose their appeal. Scientists tested this with rats. Rats in exciting new environments normally show massive dopamine increases. But if you give them dopamine stimulants first, they don't show those beneficial brain changes. This is happening to us. We're getting so many artificial dopamine hits that real life, conversations, sunsets, completing projects feel boring by comparison. Let me tell you about the moment I realized how deep I was in this hole. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and I was mindlessly scrolling through my phone. You know, that zombie-like state where you're not even really looking at anything. Then something stopped me cold. I tried to remember what I had just spent the last hour looking at, and I couldn't. Not a single thing. That hour had been erased from my memory. I started calculating. 4 to 5 hours a day on my phone meant 35 hours a week, nearly 2,000 hours a year. In 5 years, I had spent roughly 10,000 hours. 5 years of full-time work just scrolling. But here's what really broke me. I used to read voraciously. I used to have deep conversations. I used to notice sunsets and feel something. When was the last time I had done any of those things? I realized I had traded thousands of hours of potentially meaningful experiences for dopamine hits from strangers liking my photos and outrage from political posts. That night, I deleted every social media app from my phone. I bought a basic alarm clock, and I committed to reading one book that month. The first few days were brutal. I felt genuinely anxious. But slowly, something beautiful happened. I began to notice things again. The way morning light hit my coffee cup, the words people were saying in conversations, the satisfaction of finishing a chapter. This brings me to opportunity cost, the value of what you give up when you choose one thing over another. When you spend an hour scrolling, the opportunity cost is the hour you could have spent reading, exercising, or talking to a friend. And opportunity costs get bigger the more time you spend on your phone. The first few minutes might be valuable, but by hour 3 or 4, you're getting very little value while giving up increasingly valuable alternatives. Scale this up to humanity. People in Indonesia spend over 6 hours daily on phones. In the US, it's over 4 hours. We're talking about trillions of hours of human potential being redirected into doom scrolling feeds. Remember that stress hormone thing I mentioned? Here it is. When you put your phone down after heavy use, your body releases cortisol, a stress hormone. This isn't just in your head, it's physical withdrawal. Let me ask you 3 questions. Do you crave your phone even when you're supposed to be focusing on something else? Does your phone control your mood? Happy when you get likes, sad when you don't? And have you tried to reduce your phone use but found yourself unable to stick with it? If you answered yes to any of these, you're not alone. 78% of people say they couldn't live without their phone, and 31% admit they can't control their use. But here's the good news. Our brains have neuroplasticity. We can rewire them. Scientists have identified 3 strategies that actually work. Chronological binding, restrict phone use to specific time windows. Remember those rats with cocaine? Unlimited access killed them. But rats with only 1 hour daily access used controlled amounts. Try limiting social media to 1 hour per day. Physical binding. Make it physically harder to use your phone. Log out of addictive apps and give your password to a friend. Turn your phone off at 9 p.m. and put it in a drawer. Physical distance creates barriers your impulsive brain must overcome. Categorical binding. Make your phone less appealing. Put it on grayscale. Your brain responds to color. Only check social media on your computer. Delete unnecessary apps. Don't use your phone as an alarm clock. It goes beyond the personal. It's a societal shift. The reason it's hard to put your phone down is that everyone around you is glued to theirs. Think about societal norms. In 1949, doctors recommended cigarettes. It was normal for medical professionals to smoke at work. But norms shifted. It became inappropriate, then illegal. What if we could shift phone norms the same way? What if pulling out your phone during dinner became as awkward as lighting a cigarette? I've noticed this in my own behavior. On trains where people are reading books, I'm way more likely to put my phone away and read too. Social influence is incredibly powerful. Pick one of those 3 strategies I mentioned, try it for 1 week. Maybe you'll put your phone in grayscale. Maybe you'll log out of Instagram. Maybe you'll designate 1 hour as your phone time. And tell someone what you're doing. Not for accountability, but because you might inspire them to try something similar. Remember, we control nothing, but we influence everything. The smartphone revolution happened faster than almost any technology in human history. But somewhere along the way, instead of us using smartphones, smartphones started using us. The good news, we're not powerless. Our brains are plastic. Social norms can change, and individual actions, when they spread, can reshape societies. Your phone doesn't have to control your life. You can reclaim those hours, you can rediscover the joy of deep focus, meaningful conversations, and being present in your own life. The question isn't whether smartphones broke something fundamental about human society. They did. The question is, what are we going to do about it? The clock is ticking, but unlike your phone, this is one notification you want to act on.